up was not easy. She literally had to like work like a dog to be able to put food on the table. Sometimes there was none. We don't have time to hope and pray that somebody else is gonna save us. If you have ever been in a lower place than you are right now, you're winning. Hey guys, okay, so I just wanted to do a really quick video this morning because last night I had a conversation with Steve, my husband, and I wanted to have this conversation with you because you know when you have like those aha moments and you're like, shoot, he's right. I had that moment and I wanted to talk to you because I know there's a lot of women like me where it's like growing up was not easy. Growing up was not easy at all. My mom was a single mom with 4 kids and she worked she literally had to like work like a dog to be able to put food on the table. Sometimes there was none. Like it was a really hard way to grow up. But out of that came the learnings, right? And the learnings of like, we don't have time to sit and stew and complain about our circumstance. We don't have time to hope and pray that somebody else is going to save us. Right? I learned a long time ago when I was young that if I needed something, if I wanted something, I had to do the work and get it done. And excuses weren't going to get me there. So the thing though about growing up like that is that I don't necessarily stop and say, wow, look at where I've come from and look how much I've grown. And so sometimes I think my husband sometimes calls me like an overachiever. I don't know about that, but I think what it is I learned a lot growing up. And I actually think that my experience, however tough it was, and this might be for a lot of you as well, it was good that it happened. Not everything. Don't get it twisted. Not everything that happened, but it was good that I had that experience because it literally made me who I am today. And that person is not perfect. That person has challenges, struggles, have things that I need to work out for sure. But what it has made me is a person who, when things go not the way you want them, I try not to stew in them. But what Steve was saying was, he was like, you also need to realize like from where you started to where you are now, you've got to just like appreciate that because you did that. And as opposed to always kind of thinking like, because lately, like I think I've said in some of my previous videos, lately I feel like there's so much going on that I feel like I'm failing in some areas. And so this weekend, I kind of had one of those moments where it was like, and I never break down. Like I never cry. I'm just like a keep it moving, what's next type of person. And I literally, it was just like, and Steve said to me like, yes, you've got a lot on your plate. He's like, sometimes you think that you have to do it all on your own. And you also don't stop to say like, yeah, you know what? There are some things that aren't going, exactly the way I want them to. But the fact is that going from where I started, I remember literally not even being able to, like growing up, not even being able to, afford to get bus tickets to get to school. So instead had to walk like an hour. Literally, it's one of those like, the old stories that they tell where it's like, I had to walk through 2 feet of snow to get to, that was actually me and my sister. And so I remember having to, go through that, not sure if I was even going to be able to finish school. I literally had 3 jobs. I know people say these stories, but like right here, right? I literally had 3 jobs to put myself through college. And I remember because I had moved out when I was 18, and I remember I couldn't afford literally groceries. I couldn't afford detergent to wash my clothes. I could afford dish soap though. And so I would wash my clothes in dish soap. And for food, I would buy a bag of flour, ketchup, soy sauce, because then I could just make dumplings and then I would mix the soy sauce and the ketchup as a little dip. Like that was literally all I had in my cupboard. To go back and actually think about that. And sometimes you need somebody to like check you and be like, hey, like this is serious. Like you got here because of the amount of work that you have done. And sometimes you're still like, you're so in your head about thinking about, oh, but I'm not exactly where I wanted to be. And this part of my life is not exactly how I thought it would be. You gotta stop and you gotta say, holy crap, right? Like, we're here. And to think that now it's like, I have a great career and I'm not toting my horn. Like, that is not anything. Like, even when you have a family and a house and all of this stuff, sometimes it feels like you are struggling. It's just a different level, right? Everybody's got their stuff. I look at that and Steve said to me, like, you went from literally eating flour, ketchup, and soya sauce as your main staple of your food to being in a great role with a great company, owning like almost $2 million of real estate, and like having two beautiful girls who are doing well. When you put it in that perspective, you're like, shit, maybe I don't appreciate what I've actually achieved, but also have been blessed with, of course. I just think like that conversation really just had me just wanting to talk to you guys, because regardless of exactly where you are, if you have ever been in a lower place than you are right now, you're winning. That's the thing to remember, is that life is going to throw you challenges. You are going to have your ups and your downs. And believe me, over the last couple of years, even, there have been a lot of ups and downs, right? Like financially, emotionally, health-wise, like there has been a lot of ups and downs. It hasn't all been, from there to here, straight climb. Like sometimes you go backwards, sometimes you go forward, but you know what I mean? Sometimes you just have to appreciate the season that you're in and appreciate the fact that if things have ever been worse than they are right now, you need to be appreciative of that, where you are. And sometimes just be grateful and thankful for the things that you do have, rather than focusing so much on the things you don't have and the things that aren't going exactly your way. And it's not just from a monetary perspective. It's like, stop and look at the people that you love, who are there for you, who are supporting you, who, you know what I mean? Like those one of the things when I have like a really crappy day and I feel like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? I'm not being successful. I'm not, a meeting didn't go the way I had planned, or I feel like my confidence is low. I literally come home and I'll tell the girls a little bit about what happened. And they don't really understand the corporate world. They don't understand it. But what they do understand is that mom had a crappy day and here for her. And so they will give me a hug. And those hugs are exactly what I need in that moment. And sometimes even with motherhood, you feel like, shoot, am I doing the right thing by them, right? Am I giving them what they need to be the best version of themselves? And sometimes it can be a lot, right? When you have so many people depending on you to help steer and guide them, it's a lot of bloody pressure. You know what I mean? And so I just want us to really think about what we've accomplished, what we're grateful for, the things in our lives that we have been blessed with. And I really want us to, as a tribe, shout out, please, in the comments, what are you grateful for? What have you achieved that you never thought you would have been able to? I want us to actually just reflect on where we were at one point to where we are now and how that has changed. We're never going to be perfect. It's impossible. We are never going to be perfect. We're potentially never going to get everything that we want at the moment that we want it, right? Things take time. Some things will come to pass. Some things will be better than we expected. Some things will not. But be appreciative of what you have, what you've achieved with your hard work and blessings from upstairs. Be in the moment, because sometimes we're always looking for the next thing, but sometimes we just have to stop and take in what's happening now, what we have now. Anyways, I just really wanted to chat with you guys, because it was one of those things where you're just like, I need to talk about this with my tribe, right? Because if you guys are like me, and I know there are a lot of us, we really do need to be thankful and appreciative and give ourselves like a freaking pat on the back, because we've done some great things and we're going to continue to do some great things. Much love.